All right, welcome back to the Net to Net podcast. It's been a minute since we did this. I thought, why not start back up with a big move that just happened right before the trade deadline. Anthony Davis, Luka Doncic, 3-team Blockbuster trade has happened. So last night, no one saw this coming. I think leading up to the trade deadline, we had everybody talking about where De'Aaron Fox is going to go, where Jimmy Butler is going to go. Jimmy Butler, is he going to be on his way to Phoenix? Is Bradley Beal out of Phoenix? Is he going to accept his no trade clause? All these to think about. And no one in their wildest mind saw Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis being dealt at the deadline. We knew the Lakers were probably going to do something at the deadline to get rim protection help, big men help, because AD wants to play the 4. He succeeds at the 4. That's his main position. And then last night, Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first-round pick in 2029 from the Lakers head to Dallas for Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris. And then the Lakers route Jalen Hood Hutchafino, the rookie that they drafted out of Indiana 2 years ago, and a second-round pick, 2 second-round picks, one from the Clippers and one from the Mavericks. The Clippers pick was from Dallas, 4 to make the salaries work. And now we saw Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, and Klay Thompson forming a big 3. Plus, you got a lot of big men down there. You got Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, and now Anthony Davis. And LeBron gets Doncic. So what I've been hearing is Lakers aren't done yet. So we'll keep an eye out on that with the trade deadline coming up on February 6th. But man, Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic. Let's start on the Dallas side. So Luka, face of the franchise, they drafted him. They traded up for him. They swapped with Trae Young to get him. The sources and what they're saying is they're frustrated with his conditioning, dedication to the game, his lifestyle. They didn't want to consider giving him the super max, which he was eligible for before he was traded, because when you're traded, you're no longer eligible for the super max. Could have signed the biggest deal in NBA history if he signed the super max, but since he can't now, he won't. But that's huge. That's your face of the franchise. He was your biggest star probably since Dirk Nowitzki. Yeah, actually is your biggest star since Dirk Nowitzki, because KP really wasn't a huge superstar, or that face of the franchise superstar that you would consider like Dirk and Doncic. But yeah, Luka Doncic didn't ask for a trade, didn't know about the trade. No one really knew what was going on. So then they go out and trade him. Now they're really relying on Kyrie Irving to carry the team, which Kyrie has been playing unbelievable, shooting 50, 40, 90 right now through the season. Could join one of 4 players to ever do that through multiple seasons, which Kyrie has been balling out. I think now with getting an elite rim protector and on the defensive side, Anthony Davis, you're going to be good. And the Mavericks shoot up in the playoff for the championship odds. They shoot so high up now, with the Lakers dropping. So that is from the Mavericks side. You look at it, it's more they don't trust Luka staying healthy, his conditioning, his whatever it is. And they didn't want to commit all that money to him to keep him. So they call up the Lakers and they offer Luka. And if you're the Lakers, you're not turning that down. So from the Lakers side, yes, you lose Anthony Davis. You really don't have a big man. The only big man on the roster now is Jackson Hayes, and then Markieff Morris, because Markieff Morris plays some of the center sometimes. And that's if they even keep him. And I believe the Lakers are not done yet. You also lose a good role player in Max Christie, who you've started into the starting lineup, who has been playing pretty well. Watching the game last night against New York, Christie had a good game. Yes, LeBron loves playing in Madison Square Garden, but Max Christie, 15 points, 10 shooting, a 4 from the 3. That's pretty good. Just getting into the rotation or into the starting lineup now. So you played Jackson Hayes at the 5 last night, but outside of that, you really don't have a traditional center. Is Christian Koloko going to play? I probably wouldn't play him. You really have to go out and get that big center. I know they were linked to Vucevic, to Miles Turner of late, so that will be interesting to see what they do. But going back to it, you get Luka now, you get LeBron, but outside of that, you don't really have. Well, you have Austin Reeves. Is Austin Reeves and how Austin Reeves and Luka backcourt's going to work? How is them not having a center, a big good rim protector, going to affect the Lakers going down forward? Like I said, they're not done yet. We're going to keep watching until February 6th to see what they keep doing. But you get rid of Anthony Davis. LeBron loved Anthony Davis, great friend. LeBron said Anthony Davis has been their best player, one of their best players. Anthony Davis came out and said they want a big man. Are they going to get that? And then they go out and trade Anthony Davis, which shocked me because I don't. If we would have saw an Anthony Davis trade, I feel like we would have saw it in the offseason. If they didn't make it to the playoffs or got bounced in the play-in or bounced in the first round, then I see Anthony Davis blowing it up a little bit. LeBron's future is up and up. We don't know exactly if he's going to decide to retire, if he's going to play one more year. So is LeBron's in the air. Now it's finding out if LeBron wants to commit to the Lakers or ask for a trade. Is it, I know like last year, the Warriors inquiring about LeBron. Does LeBron force a move somewhere to try to get one more title before he leaves? Right now he's with the Lakers. He's playing with the Suns, so it'll be interesting to see what the Lakers do from here. But yeah, JJ Redick becomes Luka Doncic's coach now, which he played with Luka in Dallas, so that should be interesting. But it's funny that no one knew this was happening. You have players on the bench reacting to it live. We saw the clips of Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant reacting, which is insane. On the court, fans are checking their tweets. I'm watching ESPN this morning. People thought Shams was hacked. And then Shams had to go out and tweet again that this was real. So we're talking about a global superstar and Luka Doncic now going to LA. Right now, both of these players are hurt, but this is one of the first times two superstars were traded for each other that averaged 25 plus points. They're all NBA first teams in recent years. These guys, this is a blockbuster trade. This sets courts in NBA. This could be one of the biggest trades in NBA history. We have Patrick Mahomes, we have Dirk Nowitzki, we got Tony Kroos, Matt Hummels, and all these big superstars in their sport reacting to this trade and being like, wow, this is insane. Like, the funniest tweet I saw was Matt Hummels, a soccer player, saying, thank God soccer players aren't traded like this in their sport. We had Patrick Mahomes reacting to this, and this is huge. This sets shockwaves cross sports for the time. So wow, this is unbelievable. We're talking about the Mavericks who went out this offseason to get Klay Thompson to revamp his team to help push for a major push. Now you see Luka Doncic going down into one of the biggest trade of all time, probably. When we talk about trades that Lakers have made over the years, no shocker to making big trades. They traded Vlade Divac on draft night for Kobe Bryant. They traded for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when he was on the Bucks. They traded for Anthony Davis in recent years from New Orleans. And now you go out and get Luka Doncic. So this is going to be interesting to see how Luka and LeBron work together. You know, Luka is not the best defender, but he's a great offensive scorer and playmaker, but lacks that defensive kind of production that you would wish you had out of something like him. Let's see how Austin Reeves does, because Austin Reeves has been playing the point guard. So now does he move back to shooting guard, or does he move to small forward? You still have Dorian Finney-Smith, who gives you defensively help. But once again, it's going to come down to how are the Lakers, if they don't make a move by the deadline, how are they going to compete with the Western Conference in there against their big men. We got like the likes of now in Dallas, you have Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, Anthony Davis. In OKC, you have Hardenstein, you have Chet Holmgren, J Dub. You got the Warriors with Kayvon Looney and Draymond Green. Memphis has Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson and Brandon Clark. You have all these powerhouse superstar teams in the West who have big men. Not to mention like the Rockets with Alfred Şengün and Steven Adams. You have big men everywhere. How can you size up? Is LeBron going to play the five? Is Rui Hachimura going to play the five? Rui Hachimura played the five in college, and he's like 6'6", 6'7". He's not tall. Or he's tall, but he's not big man. He can't play the center in NBA. You can he can play the center when you go small ball, but you can't go small ball against teams that have that big man depth that most teams do. And then we're talking about in the East, if they even make it to the finals, you got to go up against the East, which teams have big men. You got Jared Allen and Mobley, and with Cleveland, you have Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford in Boston. You got Cat and Mitch Robinson in New York. You have teams. So they need to go make a move. Now trading Cam Christie, who probably was one of your best assets to go out and move to get a center. Now they're going to have to swing low, maybe try to reach on these guys like Valanciunas, who you might be able to go get from Washington, who from the beginning, Valanciunas to Washington didn't really make too much sense because Washington wasn't buying for anything. They weren't going to contend. They weren't going to play in the playoffs. Go out and get a Miles Turner. You have Indiana having a down year this year in the East. Miles Turner could be an option, but now without having Max Christie, you don't really have a lot of leverage to go out and make a trade for that to make you have to make the salary jerk, but you also have to intrigue the other team into making a deal. And I think Max Tracy was their best option. Maybe Rui Hachimura. He's having a decent year this year. So it will be interesting to see what the Genie Bus and the Lakers do. I'm just super shocked, to be honest, about this. I thought it was very interesting. I definitely would love to hear my co-hosts, their takes on it. Will probably come out with something, hopefully, with them to hear their reactions to see what the landscape of the NBA is. But this is huge. So this was just me coming on for a little bit for NBA podcast. Hopefully we can start this back up soon. I know we've kind of taken like a month off, really. Just been too busy. We got stuff going on, so definitely, hopefully, get this back rolling, especially with college football season wrapped up. Definitely want to recap that here in the future. We got NFL coming up. Right now, we're going into the Super Bowl. I'll probably, hopefully, start NFL podcasts up here after the Super Bowl because then I can really focus on the draft, the free agency, looking at trying to really get that mock draft out there because it's really hard. Because you still have people declaring, you still have people transferring, so it's hard to gauge whether who's going and who's not until that deadline when they have to decide. So definitely we'll talk about that. And then with soccer podcast, definitely start that back up. Transfer deadline is almost ending. Definitely talk about teams, how they improved, how they didn't. Talk about the going into the knockout stage of the Champions League of the new format, but definitely get those out to you soon. Hopefully we can get back on a more consistent basis. But yeah, this was just my thoughts and reactions to the Anthony Davis Doncic trade. From really who won this trade, I would say Dallas. They get stronger. They get more bodies in the paint. They all around get better. They're ready to win now for the future. Win now. This was a win now move, 100%. You don't trade a franchise player in Luka Doncic. Who would be there for multiple years with Davis on the backside of his career. Maybe got 2-3 more years left. Good years with that, depending if he can stay healthy, which Anthony Davis has a history of being injured a lot. But right now, they win they win. The Lakers, obviously, the losers. Yes, because everybody's probably going to be like, wow, no, the Lakers got Luka Doncic. They are winners in this. They're winners in the long term, but not in the short term. Just because you didn't really, other than outside of getting Luka Doncic, you really didn't get much from it. I was expecting maybe a Gafford to be thrown in there, or a Derek Live, or even a Derek Lively, but you got Maxi Kleber, or even OMP, Olivia Maxine Proper, or someone young to throw in there. But also the Mavericks get Max Christie, who is a good off the bench and can insert into the starting line to help that Dallas team. But Dallas could be making a play for one of the top spots in the West. I still think Houston and OKC and Memphis are still better. I definitely want to. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens. What happens in Phoenix if Jimmy Butler ends up getting traded? De'Aaron Fox moves on from Sacramento, which would be huge because we're still waiting on that. We'll see what happens within the next few days. I bet this might be one of the funnest and most interesting trade deadlines we've seen in recent years, because usually we haven't really seen blockbuster trades. This is kicking off to it, so definitely going to be interesting to see. But yeah, this is NBA podcast. My live reaction to the Anthony Davis trade from last night. Definitely go check us out on Spotify and YouTube. And like I said, definitely, hopefully, gonna come out with more podcasts here soon and get back to a consistent basis. Hope you guys enjoy. See you guys soon. Peace.